Back again, people. It's LFC Plavi here, and it's been a while, really. Enough of the pretense that I love international football because the truth of the matter is that I don't. And I know most of you also don't really enjoy the international break. So now we are almost back to club football, Champions League, Premier League, and the fixtures are relentless. It is back to back to back fixtures. And today, what I want to do is to just look at the Premier League table so far. I promised my subscribers at the beginning of the season that I'm not going to have anything to say about who is going to win the Premier League at the beginning of the season because I believe that you earn the right to be included as a contender of the Premier League after about 10 to 15 games in the season. So we are at the point where we've played 11 games already. And this is how the Premier League table looks like. It is Arsenal on top with 26 points. Manchester City are second with 22 points. Chelsea third with 20 points. Sunderland are fourth with 19 points. Tottenham Hotspur fifth with 18 points. Aston Villa are sixth with 18 points. And it is important to point out that between fifth position and ninth position, it is 18 points. So they are all on 18 points, on the same number of points. So it means that a win or two can really shift the positions of those who are around fifth to the ninth position. So this is the Premier League table. The top four is, of course, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Sunderland. And from history, we know that usually the Premier League table at the top, especially, doesn't change much after 10 games of the season. So how we see the table after 10 games of the season, it tends to more or less be the same by the end of the season. So we have Arsenal and Manchester City at first and second position respectively. And I think the Premier League table is going to look very similar come the end of the season. It is either going to be Manchester City or Arsenal at the first position. But a quick take on the prospect of Arsenal. I do think that this league is Arsenal's league to lose. The only reason why Arsenal may not be able to win this league is because they started very well. And you can almost say that they peaked at the wrong time because it is around this time that you expect a team that is going to win the league to peak, to be putting up their best performances. But Arsenal, it looks like they've gotten the results consistently prior to this time of the season. And now it's going to be a big challenge for them to maintain that run of results. The reason why I say it's going to be difficult is due to a couple of reasons. One is that there is a question as to whether Arsenal are over-reliant on set pieces. Are they over-reliant on set pieces? Maybe, because it looks like they've scored about 40% or more of their goals from corners or set pieces. And the question is that sustainable throughout the entirety of the season? That is a question. If they don't improve on chance creation and scoring from open play, I think that is going to be a problem for Arsenal. So they have to improve on scoring goals from open play because the set piece goals are going to dry up at some point in the season. We saw that last season, and there is no reason to believe that it is not going to happen again this season. The second thing is that Arsenal have been here before. I think after 5 games in the season, I saw a stat that said that anytime Arsenal have a certain tally of points. I think it was about 20 points or 22 points at that stage of the season. They've only won the league once. So after starting so well at the beginning of the season, or after 5 or 6 games, Arsenal have only won the league once. So it means that out of about 6 or 7 seasons prior to this particular season where they've really gotten a good start, they've only won the league once, and that was the 2003-2004 season. So it means that in terms of probabilities, the chances of Arsenal maintaining their form throughout the season and winning the league and getting it over the line is actually way smaller than the chance of not being able to get it over the line. So those are the reasons why I think it's going to be a big challenge for Arsenal. But even so, it is Arsenal's league to lose. The other reason, the last reason why I think Arsenal can go on and win the league is the fact that I still don't believe Manchester City are back to their best. I don't think they'll be able to maintain a good run of form throughout the second half of the season, because we know that Pep Guardiola's team usually reach their peak towards the beginning of the following year. So from January onwards, they can go on a run and win about 15, 16 games in a row. But I don't think this Manchester City team are capable of doing that. That is the reason why I think Arsenal will go on to win the league, even if they don't improve on scoring goals from open play. Because when Arsenal lose games or drop points, it is incumbent on Manchester City and the other teams behind Arsenal to be able to take advantage. And so far, I don't think these other teams are in a good position to consistently take advantage of slip-ups from Arsenal since they are in the league. So it is still in the balance. I think I need to come back again and do another video to talk about who I think is going to win the league. At this point, it is very, very close. It is very, very close. I think it will be important for me to get more data to be able to better assess who is going to win the league. Chelsea are third with 20 points. I think with Chelsea, what I do see is that they are quite inconsistent. Just a bit like last season, they are still showing signs of inexperience at the very top level. Inexperience in terms of competing consistently for the Premier League and maintaining top performance from game to game, week in, week out. Don't forget also that last season, Chelsea were playing in the Conference League, so they were able to rotate freely. They were able to rotate their squad, and even so, they struggled to get top 4. So this season, given that they are playing in the Champions League, Chelsea do not have the flexibility or the luxury of rotating their squad between Champions League and the Premier League. They need to play a consistent first 11 between these two games. And I don't think this Chelsea team have the experience to be able to play high level games and put up top level performances every 3 days. They are not used to it. The manager is not used to it. The players are not used to it. Coupled with that is the fact that they played in the Club World Cup. They went all the way to the final. And I do think that fatigue is going to have a part to play for Chelsea this season. In spite of how big their squad is, I do think that they will be affected by the fact that they played so much football during the summer. And when you have that many minutes in your legs, also given the fact that the World Cup is just around the corner, players would be preserving themselves to be able to play in the World Cup. So all those factors taken together, I do think that Chelsea would find themselves not being able to challenge for the Premier League. But of course, in terms of the top 4, I do think Chelsea will be able to finish in this top 4. Now, the team in 4th position is Sunderland. Sunderland have played very well at the beginning of the season. They've really started well. The most surprising thing about Sunderland is that they've bought a lot of new players. They brought in a lot of new players. We are complaining, Liverpool, about the fact that New players have been brought in, and that has distorted the balance of the team. But Sunderland are not complaining about new players. They've signed a whole lot of new players, and they are still playing well. They look like a well-coached team. They look like they are well-drilled. Every single player understands their role. Every single player knows their position on the field, and they play with heart, passion, zeal, determination. They go in and put in a fight every single game, especially in their home games. So I do think Sunderland have done very well. The question is whether they are going to be able to maintain that form throughout the entirety of the season, which I don't think would be possible at some point in the season. And this is the point that I'm talking about, because the games come thick and fast. It is relentless. And that is where I think Sunderland would be found wanting, going quite far into the season. So I expect Sunderland to drop off from the top four. I expect them to finish, their best would be to finish in the top half of the table, 1st to 10th. I'll give them that. I think they will be able to do that, but I wouldn't put them in the top four. Tottenham Hotspur are 5th. They have been a bit inconsistent lately. They started quite well, winning against Manchester City and going away to get some very good results. Actually, when you look at the away table in the Premier League, Tottenham are top of the away table. They are the best away team, together with Arsenal, on 13 points from away games. So Tottenham Hotspur are doing well in terms of their away performances, but lately they haven't been able to put together a series of wins. So that is their problem right now. Tottenham, their next game is against Arsenal, and that is a derby. So anything can happen in that game. Although recently Arsenal have dominated this particular derby against Tottenham Hotspur. So I don't expect Tottenham Hotspur to be able to win that game. I'll give them a draw at the very best for Tottenham Hotspur. And in terms of the rest of the season, I think Tottenham Hotspur would be battling for a top four. They might be missing out on the top four slightly. Also, given that they need to play Champions League, they need to juggle Champions League football with playing in the Premier League. And I don't think they have the squad to be able to do that. You don't have the experience. The manager doesn't have the experience to be able to juggle those two tournaments together. So they might struggle a bit from this time forward, Tottenham Hotspur. So I do think that they might be missing out on the Champions League spots slightly. Aston Villa are 6th. Unai Emery didn't start well this season, but lately they've been able to put together a string of wins. Aside the loss they got against Liverpool at Anfield 2 fixtures ago, they had been winning. They've put together 4 wins in 5 recently, so they are in top form, Aston Villa. And for them, I think their problem is similar to Tottenham Hotspur's. They don't have the squad to compete in the Champions League, and also in the, actually Aston Villa are not in the Champions League. I think they are not in the Champions League. So I do expect that Aston Villa will do well, but even that, I don't think they will make it in the top 4. Manchester United are 7th. They've had a fairly good run of results based on their own standards. They've had a good couple of results. They've had 3 wins and 2 draws in their last five games. So Manchester United are improving. We are seeing some level of consistency in terms of not losing games, but they need to turn those draws into wins, I think, for them to be able to have a chance of making it into the top 4. So that is Manchester United for you. So Liverpool are 8th, having lost 4 out of 5 games in the Premier League. So Liverpool have won only 1 out of their last 5 Premier League games. So It is actually quite surprising that Liverpool are still eighth and level on points with the teams from fifth to seventh in the Premier League table. It is actually surprising. It means that the beginning of the season, Liverpool had a good start, and because of that, even the poor run of form in recent times haven't really derailed the entire season. For me, I think Liverpool are in a top four battle. It is going to be a hard top four battle to win. For now, we can't put our sights on winning the Premier League. I think the Premier League is done for Liverpool. So for now, it is about getting consistent. It is about getting back to winning ways. It is about putting together consistent performances. It is not even about results. Because if the results are good and the performances are poor, it means that it will not be sustainable. Just like the beginning of the season, when people said that it is not sustainable, the last minute goals, the comebacks weren't sustainable. And I was hoping that they would be proven wrong, but they weren't. They were proved right, because in the end, we've seen how vulnerable Liverpool are, the lack of energy, the lack of passion, enthusiasm. We played under Klopp with a lot of passion, I think that passion and determination and zeal got us through a lot of games. It made us win a lot of games. But at the same time, at certain times in the season, it came back to bite us. And it prevented us from winning leagues. It prevented us from winning Champions Leagues because we were gassed out. We were tired towards the end of the season. So there are ups and downs. There are good sides and bad sides of being passionate and running your socks off for 90 minutes. But there has to be a balance. This particular Liverpool team they are not playing with a lot of passion consistently. They play with passion in some games. In certain games, they lose it. They don't come prepared. They don't have enough fight in them to be able to outrun the opponent, hand down the opponent, and prevent them from playing. And if you don't prevent the opponent from playing, you set yourself up to fail. So that is what Liverpool have done this season. They haven't been consistent in terms of their energy. For me, I don't think it has nothing to do with tactics or new players. I think that the passion and energy has been missing, the focus, concentration. Players are not playing at 100% of their ability. So even on the ball, we are not playing at the best of our ability. And without the ball, the energy is completely missing in certain games. And that is why I think we've lost the number of games that we've lost this season. And if nothing changes in terms of the energy, the passion, the determination, the zeal, and the mindset to want it more than the opponent, it is going to continue. The losses are going to continue, and it is going to be a very, very long season. For me, I think this season is very similar to the 2022-23 season under Klopp when we brought in Darwin Núñez. We struggled in that season for no particular reason, and I do think we are experiencing something very, very similar this season. And it tends to happen to teams when they win the Premier League. The sacrifice that goes in, the energy that goes into winning the Premier League, it is very, very hard to come back the following season and win it. That is why I've said that Pep Guardiola is a genius for doing it 4 times in a row. Because for you to be able to motivate players season in, season out, to go out there, sacrifice a whole lot, play their socks off, put in all the energy, play with more than 100% of their concentration, energy, and everything, is just genius. And there are only a few coaches who are able to bring that kind of motivation out of players. So that is why Liverpool are struggling. And I think even if they turn it around, it is going to be a bit too late. So that is why I think Liverpool are fighting for finishing 4th or at best 3rd. I don't put Liverpool anywhere near the title race. So that is my take on the Premier League season so far. Who I think is going to win the Premier League. Why I think we still need some data to be able to assess whether City or Arsenal are going to win it. For me, it's going to be Arsenal. Something dramatic needs to happen for Arsenal not to win it. But don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and also share the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you